Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of RossDraws. My name is Ross and I draw, but can I draw like Studio Ghibli? Today I'll be drawing a Ghibli inspired piece from the game Ni no Kuni Cross Worlds, which also happens to be the sponsor of today's video. Thank you! Ni no Kuni is a Studio Ghibli styled RPG with select tracks by the legendary Joe Hisaishi. But more on that later. Today I'll be giving you all some tips and tricks on how to achieve that classic Ghibli look. So, we have our big, scary blank canvas. Let's just do something fun to get the creative juices flowing. I think a common thing people appreciate when watching a Studio Ghibli film are these big, fluffy clouds that look like a bunch of cotton balls. And you guys are in luck because today I'm gonna show you two different methods on how to achieve these clouds. Many artists think that approaching clouds could be complex and scary, but you can see here that the Ghibli clouds are often simplified to a light side and a dark side. So first, let's fill in the color of the sky, blue. I think the sky's still blue, right? Sorry, I haven't been outside in a while. Then I'm gonna grab a simple round brush and lower the hardness just a little bit. We're gonna focus on the overall big shape, the silhouette. Clouds are organic formations, so I'm making sure to vary the edge shape a little bit here. If the cloud bubbles are all the same width, it'll feel too uniform and look a bit fake. So I'm playing with the big, medium, and small sections. So this color will be the darker side of our cloud, and then I'm gonna add to the cloud by painting the light side on top. Make sure you decide the light direction, and here is coming from the top right. And now I'm gonna use my mixer brush, you can also use smudge, to help blend the dark and light side to make
clouds.
Scientists will tell you there's specific clouds with specific shape like cumulus or shadow nimbus or whatever, but we artists know that clouds have unlimited shapes and forms, so feel free to experiment and have fun with your cloud shapes. It's a chance to express myself, and sometimes I want calm clouds or big dynamic clouds. I realized that this bottom cloud here, the lighting doesn't really match the rest of the cloud, and so let's work on that. I'm going to take the darker color and add to the left side here where the shadow hits. And then I'm gonna add the lighter color and add it to the right side. And that will bring out the form. Nice, okay, that looks way better. These are pretty decent looking clouds. And we could stop here, but if you want to achieve that insane level of detail that so many Ghibli clouds have, you would go in here, you would take your eraser tool and add even more varying shape and bubble to your silhouette. Yeah, so this can get pretty time intensive, and so I'm just gonna work on this and I'll check back soon. And there you go, method number one. And now for the second method. Oh! Oh my gosh, that was pretty good. That was a little bit easier than the first method. If you look online, there are tons of great artists who have created some cloud brushes, and some are even Ghibli cloud specific brushes. And here I'm using Cloud 1 from my advanced brush pack. Both methods are perfectly good, but if you're brand new to digital art, I suggest trying your best with the first method to get some good experience. Nice, we did pretty great with our air, but now we need to land and our sea. So I really have to eat this for a 2-second joke.
Yeah.
That's so good though. Now that we roughed those in, it's time to add our grass and flowers, which leads us to our next tip. A really common painting technique is to paint the subject in the foreground with a ton of detail, and as objects move farther and farther away from the viewer, it becomes more simplified. You can see this in a ton of animated shows in general, which has created some of my favorite screen caps ever. This doesn't mean that the animation studio did a bad job or that this is bad art. Deadlines exist, and if you have a bunch of focal points and stimulus in the foreground, that's gonna take the viewer's focus. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to give the background elements the same time and effort. And you wouldn't even notice it if it weren't for the internet pausing on every single frame and zooming in. So, just like the clouds, I have an awesome grass brush here that I'm gonna use for the base of our foliage. And looking at the game, I noticed a lot of these yellow flowers. Well, luckily, I have a flower brush that can help me save time. Since we're still pretty far away from the viewer, using a custom brush with less detail is totally fine. For our foreground flowers, I was originally gonna go with sunflowers, but I wanted some contrast, so I'm thinking daisies. And we're gonna photo bash to help save time. What is photo bash? Photo bashing is the skill that I use in my paintings, and you can watch my bro art video if you wanna learn more about it. Also, bless the creators who take time to help mask assets for us artists to use. I know the pain of spending an hour to mask only one flower. I'm also gonna then add a Gaussian blur to the daisies closest to us so we feel that camera depth. There we go. With a high detail foreground and then a simplified background, we can capitalize on the human brain to fill in the blanks. So I want to take a quick second to talk about Ni no Kuni Cross Worlds, a vast open world RPG by Netmarble that's launched globally on PC and mobile. Growing up, I clocked thousands of hours playing MMOs, but lately I don't have too much time to play games, so in order to pique my interest, a game needs to have either amazing character design or an awesome art style, and Ni no Kuni has both. Before jumping into the immersive world, you'll choose from 5 unique characters: the swordsman, the witch, the engineer, the rogue, and the destroyer. Yeah, swordsman is really giving me Howl vibes, so he's definitely my first choice. The game looks absolutely beautiful and is now live, so click the link in the description to download and play. So, as I mentioned, let's choose swordsman. He has this cape jacket thingy, and we all know that I love capes. So, to help me focus on just the character, I'm going to make a brand new layer of white, drop the opacity, and I've taken these swatches from the game promo art of the swordsman character. I'm gonna use these colors to paint him. So right now, I'm drawing him looking straight out into the clouds, maybe he's thinking about life, but I wanna show more of his face. And so let's erase his head and draw him with a little bit more head tilt so we see more of his expression. Nice. And then we have our flats for our character, and you can tell that he isn't really perfectly matching into our scene, so I'm gonna show you how to better integrate your character into your environment. And the first thing is shadows. As we mentioned before with the clouds, the sun direction is coming from the top right, and so let's add the shadows accordingly with our swatches. That looks way better, and for the final touches, let's use some color balance to bring all the colors together. So I'm going to move my sliders around. You have a shadows, midtones, and highlights, and let's kind of cohesively harmonize these a little bit. Before and after. Nice! And now our character matches our scene a little bit better. I got pretty lucky because this scene here matches a lot of the promo art, but let me show you how to do these same steps on an environment that's much harder. All right, so here's my piece Avalon that I painted in 2015, and we're going to have to integrate our character into this more moody sunset environment, which is gonna be more challenging. I forgot why I named this piece Avalon. An island represented as an earthly paradise in the western seas, to which King Arthur and other heroes were carried to death. Oh my gosh, my memory is so bad, I have no recollection of any of that. So I'm gonna use an airbrush to soften some of these hard lines on the shadows. And now, in order to make a tinted shadow, I'm going to make a new layer, set it to multiply, clip it to our character, and fill it with an existing shadow color. Boom! Nice! And now let's tweak it and adjust it until we like where it is. And now I'm gonna merge my shadow and my character together, and we're gonna use color balance to bring it all together. Ooh. Before and after. You see the difference there? And last but not least, let's add a little bit of a light bloom by creating a brand new layer, set it to color dodge, and choose a kind of like a reddish orange here, and brush it over my character. Ooh, nice. And there you go. With those few steps there, we better integrated our character into our environment. Hey guys, welcome back, and that was a 3-second transition for you and a 5-hour transition for me. Yeah, so I added some of these floating elements, added some detail on these floating islands, added some variation to these flowers, you want to mix them up a little bit. And finally, I added Clue, one of your in-game companions. And now, let's color dodge. Oh man, here we go. Land, air, and sea. Ooh. And last but not least, our logo. Oh, snap! Ni no Kuni.